Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I've got Stacey back with me at the anvil, and she was telling me about a land grab, and I was like, are you talking about Bill Gates and what he's up to? And she's like, no, I've got way more. So this is kind of a reaction video. She's going to read it to you and me at the same time, and we're going to kind of muddle through this together.
Yeah, I'm going to surprise him. And actually, this just came from a subscriber. Sherry, thanks so much for emailing me this.
Thank you, Sherry. Hey, and hit the like button before we get going. Subscribe if you like this kind of information. I always forget to say that, but I'm getting better.
Yeah, and email us, because what you tell us, we're able to give to everyone. We're able to share it. It's free of charge, doesn't cost you anything, and we get to just provide all the information for free. It's great. NinjaNationReport@gmail.com. It'll be in the description. If you're into precious metals, you can call her. That'll be in the description as well. All right, let's get to it. You ready?
Yep.
Is it a land grab or a climate solution? So, apparently, President Biden, he has signed an executive order, and this has been about a year ago that he signed it in. And actually, if you want to look it up, it is Executive Order 14008. So, look it up. And it's called a 30 by 30 plan, and it will place 30% of the U.S. lands and 30% of the U.S. waters under federal jurisdiction by 2030.
Okay, the first thing that stands out is these executive orders, this dictatorship. It's not supposed to be like this. So what you're telling me is Biden has said, okay, they're going to get 30% of all the land?
Of the land and 30% of the water.
The federal land?
No, just land supposedly. And that's where the gray area is.
Surely it's federal land like parks and stuff like that.
Well, there's some gray areas because some of the people have come out and they're starting to speak out and say, what does this mean for the farmers and different things. Well, I'll just break it down to you.
If that's the case, and the government is dictating, Biden and whoever's running him is dictating that they're going to take 30% of the land and 30% of the water, that's the same thing that's going on in the Netherlands. It is a extreme. That's extreme. That's craziness. I hope that's not the case.
Well, I'll break it down for numbers. So right now, the federal government owns $289 million, give or take maybe a number or two, but that's what the numbers I came up with. In the next 10 years, with this 30-30 plan, they're planning on getting an additional 440 million acres additionally into the federal, and they call it the Protection Act.
Oh yeah, it's always for climate. It's always for something wholesome and good that the other side can be bamboozled with. And when I mean the other side, I don't mean Democrat or Republican. I mean the other side is in the people that have really bought into this climate stuff. They're hook, line, and sinker. No matter if it kills everybody, we got to save the planet type thing.
Well, apparently it's going to affect the farmers. So a lot of these farmers...
Absolutely it will.
So
they lose 30% of the land, it's going to affect the farmers.
Yeah,
sure.
It is. So I started doing a little bit of research, and a lot of farmers have been coming out. But before I go any further, this is what... So it's kind of been vague, what the plans are. But it was brought up again last week by the USDA Secretary, Tom Vilsack. He mentioned the plan again in an interview. And he said that the president is expected to outline his plan during a Leaders Climate Summit on April 22nd and 23rd, which is coming up in a couple of weeks, not very far from now. And he's invited 40 world leaders to attend.
This has the WF written all over it. This has been soaked in ESGism. I'm going to tell you right now. All this... these countries that have been groomed by the WEF are now in control of every freaking thing, and it's starting to be annoying. I think it's going to get a little worse before it gets any better. But this is it. This is what we're looking at in the future.
This is it.
Whoever owns the land grows the food. Whoever grows the food controls the people.
Yep. And the water. Whoever owns the water.
And the water's a much bigger deal than the food, actually. So
yeah, so a lot of these states are stepping up. Like the head of the agriculture in these different states, you got Nebraska, you've got Kansas, you've got different ones, and they're saying, hey, it's even starting to affect how they're planting now, right now, because they're like, what do I plant?
Farmers got to think ahead.
Yeah, so they're like, do I plant? Do I go get another loan? Are they going to come take my land? They're stepping up. They said it's so vague. They said And certain states, like the heart and soul of the entire state, like 90 to 95% is completely farmland. So if you go and take 30% of that away, that's a big deal. Very big deal.
This is massive. Yeah, I just can't imagine it. But look, guys, I have a hard time with
Politicians
taking things at face value. You have to kind of think about it and look at it, and make sure it is what it is. If this is legit, if this is an executive order to take 30% of our land,
that's what it said. But it's
that
vague.
is crazy. This is a dictatorship. This is
vague.
Mao.
So it says it's going to support locally led conservation efforts. It's going to work toward a more equitable and inclusive version for nature. It's going to honor the sovereignty of tribal and different communities. It's going to be guided by science. It's all in the name of climate. Well, it's going to be, just so you know, the Department of Interior is going to be responsible for developing the report, and then the report is going to go to the National Climate Task Force to see
great.
what the suggestions are
So
going to
it's
be made.
guided by the same science that we've been living through, and I can't imagine. I can't imagine how awesome this is going to be.
Well,
this is really rolling out to be the Thunderdome that I thought it would be, actually.
So a lot of these, and I applaud a lot of these guys that are coming out with these agriculture, these departments. They're actually stepping up, and they're going, we are concerned about being able to keep the productivity of their farms so that you guys can have food or meat or whatever, and protect the personal property rights for the owners. So they said they are stepping up right now, a lot of these guys, and they're saying, hey, what is going on? What is actually in the bill?
Politicians?
Well, no, these are from the head of agriculture people. These aren't politicians that are stepping up, and they're saying, wait a minute, what's in this bill? We need to protect the rights.
That's what we need is real people standing up saying, hey, what's going on? What are you trying to do? I agree.
We need that so bad. And a lot of those guys get hits. I mean, they take a backlash for it sometimes. But, so, anyway, so they were also talking about how it was going to affect the wood. They said the timber. They said, so if they take some of this property, then there's going to be a lack of timber. They were talking about food. They were talking about, I don't know. That's what they were just saying. Some of these agriculture people, whether it's right or not.
Timber,
for housing, different things like that. I don't know. They were just saying if they come in and they take all this stuff, the repercussions down the road. And they were listing all the different things.
We got to look at somebody like Bill Gates. He's the largest property owner in Louisiana.
He is.
That's my state.
Yes.
That bothers me. What is it?
Well,
how
actually,
much does he
I have
own?
a chart.
269,000 acres, and it was bought in trust. Yes. It was bought on the down low, if you know what I mean.
Well, it was bought in trust, and actually, somebody just recently bought something down in South Louisiana, and we were talking about it, and they were just giving them pennies on the dollars of what they should have been giving them, and it was just right above the level so they couldn't file for insurance. And so I kind of did a little legwork, and come to find out from what I can understand, this company is actually, it was a shell company, but the company was actually in Japan. That's what I think who bought that company out.
Great, yeah.
So Bill Gates has been doing this also. He's been coming in with trust companies, shell companies, so they won't know who he is buying it, which every business person is going to do because they don't want you raising the prices on them. But for some reason, and I wish I could show you guys this chart. I don't know if you guys can see. Sherry sent this to me.
I can see.
But you can see how much land he actually owns. So I did a search, you guys, of who is actually in in the United States, who are the top 10 land farm owners. And Bill Gates obviously is number 1. Guess who's number 2? Ted Turner. Thought that was interesting. Number 3 is Stuart and Linda.
Who's Ted Turner?
He's a huge TV icon. Look him up. He's got all kind of...
Well, that's what I thought, but...
Yeah. But he is he's the second. Number 2.
That's incredible.
And this is for 2023.
That is, wait a minute, remarkable.
This is something that just came out. Number 3 is Stuart and Linda Resnick. And if you look them up, she is a multi-billionaire. They're into all kind of stuff. And after that, it was mainly families. If I kind of just went down the list or whatever. But the top 3 were actually individuals. So I told Chris, I'm like, all right. So I put my thinking cap on a little bit. I said, if the government is going to come in and do this 30-30, they're going to, what are they going to buy up this land? My goodness, Bill Gates and Ted Turner and them, they would make a fortune.
Well, yeah, they can whoop up all the money they want. They can print it up. They can do a stimulus or do a package, whatever, to keep the government going, how they always push it through, and give a certain amount over to ESGism or, this science-based land grabbing, and they could give it to these guys.
Yeah,
Say, hey, we need to protect these lands, and these guys will be wealthy all over again, like double.
Yep.
That's the problem. After you get away from capitalism, when it turns into crony capitalism, people wind up with all the money.
They do.
There's a certain people that always wind up with all the money, and we actually do need to reset. It just doesn't need to be the way they think it needs to be. It needs to be the right way.
No, it does. But if you guys know of anything else about this Executive Order 14008, let me know. I tried to do a little bit of research. One interesting comment. So there was a lady, her name's Katie Tubb. Look her up. She's a research. She does energy, climate, environmental.
Katie Tubb?
Katie Tubb. But she's actually seems like pretty conservative. And she made a comment, a quote, and I'm going to quote her. She said, America will not be, quote, the beautiful if it isn't also free. Man, that just resonated with me when I was looking up. She was writing an article about this 3030 is how I came across her. So anyway, that's just another
that was a good
piece
story.
of information.
Yeah, thank you for your research.
Yeah.
You're the bomb.
Thanks
right,
for
guys.
Sherry for sending it
thank
to
you,
us.
Sherry. You guys are the bomb. Actually, the community is killing it.
Yep.
Everything you send us, we read. Some of the things we can't actually talk about. Like, it is a no-no on YouTube. Hopefully, I don't have a Twitter presence, barely. I got like 280 followers, and I post stuff over there, but that seems to be a pretty free speech area. I've been putting it to the test lately, and it seems to be legit. So maybe check that out. For sure, get on the Discord. Mm-hmm. It's in the description. You can put anything you want over there. I want to push these websites to the max, before we're really crushed down to where we can't say anything like North Korea or something like that. So, we need to really start branching out and stretching what we don't understand, if that makes sense. It's easy to know the monster that you know and just avoid the one that you don't know. So that's me anyway. So guys, have an awesome, awesome day. We'll see you in the next one. Later.